If you are currently skipping olive oil because you're worried about calories or because decades of low-fat advice convinced you that all oils are the enemy, I need you to listen very closely. Because you aren't just missing out on a simple pantry staple. You are inadvertently starving your body of one of the most potent, scientifically verified longevity agents ever discovered. Most people over 60 are obsessed with what they are taking out of their diet. They focus on cutting salt, cutting carbs, or cutting fats. But the secret to real vitality, the kind of health that keeps you independent and sharp well into your 80 seconds and 90 seconds, isn't about what you remove. It is about what you add back in. For a long time, the beauty industry and the processed food world have kept you in the dark. They wanted you buying low-fat alternatives, which are often just sugar-laden replacements that wreak havoc on your blood sugar. But while the world was chasing low-fat trends, a different group of people, those living in the blue zones, were doing the exact opposite. They were drinking it, pouring it over everything, and living longer, more vibrant lives than almost anyone else on the planet. Today, we are going to look at why that simple bottle of olive oil in your cupboard is actually a sophisticated pharmaceutical-grade tool for your biology. I'm going to explain why adding it to your day isn't just about cooking. It's about signaling your cells to stop the aging process. But before we get into the why and the how, I want to be very clear. Not all oils are created equal. If you are buying the cheap, mass-produced stuff, you are likely wasting your money and missing the entire point. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to spot the real deal, why your brain and your heart are practically begging for this specific fat, and how to start a simple daily ritual that can fundamentally change how you feel in the morning. If you've ever felt like your energy is lagging or you're worried about that fog that settles in after lunch, stay with me. Because what's coming next is the missing link in your longevity toolkit. To understand why this liquid gold matters so much after age 60, we have to look past the nutrition label and talk about something doctors call inflammaging. It's a term you're going to hear more often, and it is the single biggest threat to your longevity. Imagine your body as a high-performance engine that has been running for 6 decades. Over time, that engine naturally builds up wear and tear. But for many, the process is accelerated by chronic, low-grade inflammation. This isn't the kind of inflammation you feel with a twisted ankle. This is silent, invisible, and persistent. It's happening inside your blood vessels, inside your joints, and most importantly, inside your brain. When you're young, your body's repair systems are lightning fast. Your cells clear out damaged proteins and recycle energy effectively. But as we cross that 60-year threshold, these systems begin to slow down. The cellular trash starts to accumulate. That trash triggers your immune system to send out inflammatory signals. This is where the problem starts. That inflammation acts like a slow-burning fire. It damages the lining of your arteries, it stiffens your joints, and it slowly degrades the sensitive pathways in your brain that keep your memory sharp. Many people think the physical decline they feel, that mid-afternoon fatigue, the creaky feeling in the morning, the difficulty focusing, is just old age. But what if I told you that a significant portion of that decline is actually your body's reaction to this internal inflammation? Most people try to fight this with expensive supplements or complicated diets. But the real answer is far more elegant. You don't necessarily need more pills, you need better fuel. You need a way to douse that internal fire before it damages your cellular architecture. And here's the kicker that most people ignore. Your cells are literally built out of fat. Every single one of the trillions of cells in your body has a membrane, a protective outer skin made of fatty acids. If you are eating poor-quality, highly processed industrial oils, you are essentially building those cell walls out of cheap, unstable materials that break down easily and invite inflammation. But when you consume the right, high-quality fats, you are essentially upgrading your cellular armor. You are giving your body the high-quality building blocks it needs to remain stable, flexible, and resilient. But I know what some of you are thinking. I've heard fat causes heart disease. I need you to pause for a second because we need to clear that up right now. The fear of fat was a massive, decades-long misunderstanding that has actually hurt the health of millions of seniors. Not all fats are equal. There is a world of difference between a trans fatty acid and the compound we are discussing today. Stay with me. because we're about to look at where this secret came from and why, for some of the healthiest people on Earth, this oil isn't just an ingredient, it's a lifeline. You have likely heard of the Mediterranean diet. It's been the gold standard in nutritional research for decades. But when we look at the populations in places like Crete, Sardinia, or parts of southern Italy, we aren't just talking about a list of foods. We are talking about a specific cultural ritual that has been practiced for thousands of years. In these regions, olive oil isn't a condiment you sparingly drizzle over a salad once a week. It is the primary caloric source. It is used in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And yet, these same populations consistently show some of the lowest rates of heart disease, cognitive decline, and metabolic dysfunction in the modern world. For a long time, researchers were baffled. They looked at the fiber, the vegetables, and the fish, and those are all important, but they kept coming back to the oil. They realized that the olive oil these populations were consuming wasn't just fat. It was packed with something else. It was packed with bioactive compounds that act almost like a protective coating for the entire cardiovascular system. Think about your kitchen as a lab for a moment. If you were to leave a cheap vegetable oil out on the counter, it might turn rancid within a few weeks because it's chemically unstable. It reacts with light, oxygen, and heat. But real, high-quality extra virgin olive oil? It stays stable. It holds its integrity. Now, apply that same logic to your body. When you consume these stable, polyphenol-rich fats, you are essentially introducing a stabilizing force into your own bloodstream. These compounds travel through your system, seeking out unstable molecules, what we call free radicals, and neutralizing them. Most people in their 60 seconds and 70 seconds are living in a state of high oxidative stress. Between the environment, processed foods, and the natural process of aging, your internal lab is overflowing with these unstable molecules that want to damage your cells. The Mediterranean secret isn't just eating healthy. It is the intentional daily act of introducing a substance that actively fights the oxidation process from the inside out. But here is where it gets interesting and why I wanted to share this with you today. It's not just about what it protects you from. It's about what it enables you to do. It supports the fluidity of your cell membranes, which allows your cells to communicate better. It improves blood flow to the brain. It makes the hormones that regulate your metabolism work more efficiently. This isn't just a food trend. It is the biological equivalent of changing the oil in a high-performance engine. You wouldn't put cheap, sludge-like oil in a luxury vehicle and expect it to run for 200,000 miles, would you? Why would you treat your own body, which has to last you a lifetime, with anything less than the highest quality fuel? But I realize that knowing why is only half the battle. You need to know how to actually apply this and how to verify you're getting the right stuff, because the supermarket shelves are filled with imposters. Before we get to that, though, I want to take a quick pause to connect with you. Quick favor before we go deeper into the specific compounds that make this oil so effective. Drop your city, state, or country in the comments below. When I see where you're all watching from, it helps me understand the different environments and food sources you're dealing with so I can better tailor my future advice to your specific needs. I read every one of those comments, and it really helps me know who's listening. Now stay right there, because I want to bridge the gap between what you're eating and how your brain actually functions. We often talk about heart health, and that is vital, don't get me wrong. But there is a secondary, often overlooked connection that is equally important for those of us over 60, the blood-brain barrier. As we age, this barrier, which protects your brain from toxins and inflammatory agents in the blood, can become compromised. When it becomes leaky, inflammation from the rest of your body can cross over and affect your cognitive clarity. This is where many people start to notice that fuzzy feeling, or trouble finding the right word, or just feeling like their focus isn't what it was even 5 years ago. The polyphenols found in high-quality olive oil are unique because they have the ability to support the integrity of these delicate systems. They aren't just oiling the gears, they are helping to maintain the structure of your internal communication lines. Most people think brain health is just about doing crosswords or Sudoku. While those are great, they are like training for a runner who isn't wearing any shoes. You have to provide the biological infrastructure first. If your brain doesn't have the right fats to build its membranes and the right anti-inflammatory support to keep that barrier secure, it doesn't matter how many puzzles you solve. I've seen patients turn their cognitive health around simply by shifting their fat intake, because they stopped the leak and started providing the material for repair. It's a fundamental shift in how you approach your day-to-day vitality, and it starts with understanding the specific supermolecules inside the bottle. You've likely heard the word polyphenol thrown around in health magazines, but let's break down what that actually means for your cells, and why it's the difference between a grocery store bottle and a health-promoting tool. To understand why this is a powerhouse for your body, we have to talk about two specific heroes, oleocanthal and hydroxytyrosol. These are the primary polyphenols found in high-quality extra virgin olive oil. Think of these not as nutrients, but as biological signals. When you consume them, they don't just get burned up for energy. They travel through your system and bind to specific receptors in your cells. First, let's look at oleocanthal. This compound is fascinating because it acts in the body in a way that is strikingly similar to common non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the stomach-damaging side effects. When you taste a high-quality, peppery olive oil and you feel that slight tingle or scratch in the back of your throat, that is the oleocanthal. That sensation is actually a sign of potency. It is a direct marker that the oil is rich in anti-inflammatory agents that help reduce systemic pain and cellular swelling. Then there is hydroxytyrosol. This is perhaps one of the most potent antioxidants known to science. Most antioxidants are fragile and get destroyed during the digestion process before they ever reach your bloodstream. But hydroxytyrosol is incredibly resilient. Once it reaches your cells, it helps to activate your body's own internal antioxidant defenses. It essentially flips a switch in your cells that tells them to turn up their production of glutathione and other internal repair agents. When you add this to your daily routine, you are doing more than just eating. You are providing a chemical command to your tissues to stand down from an inflammatory state. Many people over 60 tell me they feel stiff or heavy when they wake up. While there are many reasons for that, the systemic reduction of inflammation through these compounds can, over time, lead to a noticeable difference in how your joints feel and how fluidly you move. But I need to be careful here. I am not telling you that this is a cure-all that replaces your doctor's advice. What I am telling you is that by changing the quality of the fat you provide your cells, you are giving your body the raw materials it needs to repair itself more efficiently. It's like switching from trying to fix your home with duct tape to using actual tools and sturdy lumber. The structure itself changes, and it's not just theory. The clinical results are clear, and I want to walk you through a landmark study that really changed how the medical community views these fats. It shifts the perspective from olive oil is nice to have to olive oil is essential to have. I want to ground this in solid science, so let's look at a landmark study that moved the needle for researchers worldwide. In the famous PREDIMED study, which stands for Prevención con Dieta Mediterránea, researchers followed thousands of participants over a period of nearly 5 years to see if the traditional Mediterranean diet, specifically supplemented with extra virgin olive oil, could actually change health outcomes in older adults. The findings were staggering. This wasn't just a small observational study. This was a high-level, rigorous clinical trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine. They found that participants who followed a Mediterranean diet enriched with extra virgin olive oil saw a 30% reduction in the risk of major cardiovascular events, like heart attacks and strokes, compared to those on a low-fat diet. Think about that number for a moment. A 30% reduction in risk simply by changing the quality of the fat being consumed daily. But it wasn't just about the heart. Subsequent analyses of this research have pointed toward the protective effects on the brain. We are talking about preserved cognitive function and slower rates of age-related memory decline. The researchers concluded that the high polyphenol content in the oil wasn't just working as an antioxidant, it was actively improving the elasticity of the blood vessels. When your vessels are more elastic, they don't have to work as hard to pump blood. This reduces the strain on your heart and improves the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to every part of your body, including your skin, your eyes, and your brain. A more recent study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology further confirmed these benefits, showing that even small, consistent increases in olive oil consumption were linked to a lower risk of mortality from all causes. The mechanism is straightforward. It is about reducing the chronic, silent inflammation that we talked about earlier. When your body isn't fighting itself, it has more energy to focus on repair and maintenance. These studies prove that for those of us over 60, this isn't just about eating for flavor. It is about adopting a dietary strategy that has been clinically validated to support the longevity of your most vital organs. However, there is a catch, and it is the most important thing you will hear today. The oil you find in most standard grocery stores is often not what these studies were testing. If you are picking up a bottle that's been sitting on a shelf for months, exposed to light or blended with other oils, you aren't getting these benefits. You're getting empty calories. I'm going to show you exactly how to bypass the marketing and find the liquid gold that actually delivers these results. Now, how do you turn this science into a daily ritual that actually makes a difference? It is simpler than you think, but you have to be intentional. First, let's talk about the selection rule. Most of the bottles on the shelf are a marketing illusion. You aren't looking for light oil or pure oil. That is actually highly refined, chemically processed product. You are looking for one thing on the label, extra virgin, and you want it in a dark glass bottle which protects the delicate polyphenols from light degradation. If you can find a harvest date on the bottle, even better. Aim for something pressed within the last 12 to 18 months. The peppery test is your best friend. When you buy a new bottle, pour a teaspoon into a small glass. Take a sip. If it's bland, flat, or tastes like nothing, it's oxidized and useless. If it has that distinct peppery kick in the back of your throat, you found the real medicine. That kick is the oleocanthal signaling your body to start repairing. Here is the 5-minute daily protocol, morning ritual. Start your day with 1 to 2 tablespoons of high-quality extra virgin olive oil. You can take it straight, think of it like a vitamin, or drizzle it over a bowl of Greek yogurt or a warm piece of sourdough toast. The key is to consume it when your stomach is somewhat empty, which improves the absorption of the fat-soluble compounds. The no-heat rule. Do not use your high-quality extra virgin olive oil for high-heat frying. High heat destroys those delicate polyphenols we just talked about. Save the expensive stuff for raw applications, drizzling over vegetables, salads, or adding it to your food after it has been cooked. If you need to sauté something, use a basic virgin oil or avocado oil, but save your liquid gold for the finishing touch. Consistency is the strategy. Don't treat this like a sprint. You aren't trying to drown your food in it. You are trying to provide a steady daily dose of those bioactive compounds. 1 to 2 tablespoons daily is the sweet spot identified in the research for heart and brain protection. The kitchen swap. Go to your pantry right now and look at your cooking oils. If you see canola, soybean, or corn oil, consider moving those out. These are often highly processed seed oils that are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can actually promote the inflammation we are trying to resolve. Replace your primary cooking fat with olive oil or avocado oil. It's a simple swap, but it changes the entire inflammatory profile of your home-cooked meals. Think of it as a form of internal skincare. Just as you wouldn't use harsh stripping soaps on your face, stop using inflammatory, highly processed oils in your cooking. Give your body the high-quality, stable fats it needs to build strong cell walls and keep your internal systems running smoothly. It's a small, daily act of maintenance that compounds over weeks, months, and years. We often talk about aging as something that happens to us, a slow, inevitable decline that we just have to sit back and watch. But after reviewing the research and seeing the daily habits of the world's longest-living populations, I hope you see it differently now. Aging is not a passive process. It is a biological series of events, and you have much more influence over those events than you've been led to believe. By making the simple, daily choice to fuel your body with high-quality fats and remove the inflammatory oils that are holding you back, you are effectively taking the wheel. You are giving your heart, your brain, and your joints the structural support they need to keep you active, independent, and feeling like yourself for years to come. This isn't about being perfect with your diet. It's about being consistent with the things that move the needle. A tablespoon of olive oil isn't a miracle cure, but it is a foundational pillar of longevity. It's a signal to your cells that you are prioritizing your health, and your body will respond to that signal in kind. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want to keep building a longevity-first lifestyle, please hit the like button. It helps get this information out to more people who are looking for practical, honest, and science-backed ways to age with dignity and energy. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Every week, we break down these health myths and focus on the actionable, common-sense habits that actually change your life. You don't need a massive, expensive overhaul to see real results. You just need to start with the tools you already have in your kitchen. Start the ritual tomorrow morning. Pay attention to how you feel over the next 4 weeks, not just your energy, but the clarity of your mind and the way your body moves. You have a lot of life left to live. Let's make sure your body has the high-quality fuel it needs to enjoy every bit of it. I'll see you in the next one.